Okay, folks, I think we're going to get going. Is everybody coming back from the restrooms and such? So what we'll do is it's my pleasure to introduce Tony Knight, who's an entrepreneur and educator. He's also known as Kryptone Knight, and has been in the business for 30 years, specializing in health and good products, plus has created many brands along the lines of Lotus Essential Oils, Lotus Magic, and the Healthy Salt Company, plus Spice It Easy. In 2015, he started researching cryptocurrency, blockchain, and decentralized finance. And in 2016, he started buying Bitcoin. Since then, he's now been involved in over 50 different crypto-associated projects. And his prime focus is now dedicated to creating a peoples-based economy and improving wealth for all by creating financial freedom. And his presentation today is going to be based on how cryptocurrency and decentralized finance can be a solution to creating wealth and freedom for all. With my pleasure, Tony Knight.
Thanks. Is this working? Testing?
Yep.
Thanks to everyone for coming. I really appreciate this opportunity to be able to speak into this. I'll just wait till people are seated and then
Turn it up.
So my talk's going to be a bit of a continuation of what Gerald was talking about, and I'm going to go more into the how can we make this work. We kind of now understand there's a real problem, and hopefully I will address the CBD issue as well, because what I believe our crypto can do is it's not just solving the fiat money issue, it's solving centralization as a whole. And so if we topple that, then with a decentralized world, then we won't have an issue of a central bank digital currency, because nothing will be centralized. So that's part of the heart of what we're talking about. So we're also talking about recovering our wealth, or we're retaining our wealth, but growing our wealth as well, and protecting what we've got. So that's also very important. And when it comes to wealth creation isn't just money creation. Wealth creation is a whole collective of life. So we're just looking at one aspect here. And money is a tool. Money is an absolute tool. And it's like you need a spade to dig a garden. You need the tool to dig the garden. It's the same thing. But if we own nothing, how can we be happy if we own nothing? When I say they, the central bankers own everything, do you really think you're going to be happy? I don't think so. We're going to be very unhappy. So this is what we're trying to address, push back to in a good way as a collective. Decentralization reverses concentration of power. So this is the heart of what we're saying, and we need people to actually participate and actually vote with their feet and start at least looking at some of these projects. And when you get into it, like we have, I mean, I came from very much a natural background. I run a natural health type business for many, many years, and I was not a techie guy at all when I got into this. I'm more happy in the garden, and yes, I deal in business, and that money was just something that came and went. But once I started looking at crypto, and it was kicking and screaming at first, then when the light bulb went off, I've been hooked ever since. So I understand if people have reticence about it, but believe me, this is coming. If you know it's coming, and it's coming whether we like it or not, we've got to do something. We've got to actually act. So decentralization offers sovereignty over your wealth, your work, your lifestyle, and your whole entire creative expression. So it's cutting across. It's not just a monetary issue we're solving here. It's a decentralized lifestyle. This is not just about having a whole pile of money. What's a whole pile of money sitting in your bank or in your wallet if you're not actually doing anything good with it? So the idea is to build wealth and to put money to work in the right way so that it's enhancing everybody's lifestyle. So how do we do this? I mean, a lot of people want to know the nuts and bolts, right? So how do we DeFi? How do we decentralize our money? Well, first you take your fiat dollars. What we do is we can exchange our fiat money, and then we can put it into we can set up an exchange account, and there's a number of different exchanges. Binance is the main worldwide one. But there's 450 exchanges around the world now. I like one called Wirex because it's quite easy. It's quite easy to do. But there's many exchanges where we can exchange our fiat for the crypto, and within that exchange you can also exchange it for other crypto, and you can cash out back into fiat if you wanted through an exchange as well. And with some of our projects, you can get a card and spend your crypto. There's quite a lot you can do once you've got one of these accounts. And then, but what we do is then we move our money, we move our crypto from the exchange into a wallet. Why do we do that? Because it's ultimate security. It's an encrypted wallet. It's called a self-custody wallet. It means you hold the private keys, not the bank. When you put money in the bank, that's not your money. Sorry to say, it's not your money. It's their money. You are an unsecured creditor. So that is another risk to holding your money in the bank, because if the system comes down, there is a chance they could bail you in other words, steal your money. So when it's in the wallet, you do not have to declare that if you didn't want to. It's under your possession. And possession is 9/10 the law. Same with why holding physical silver and gold is also a good idea. So, this is what we teach in DeFi Freedom: which wallet to use, how to actually do this process. And then within the wallet, you can do things like staking, where you can actually put the money to work. So not only are you protecting your money, now you're growing your money. You're staking it. It's like when you put money in a term deposit in a bank, you've staked it, but with a third party called a bank, which we no longer trust. But you can do this yourself, and so you can earn passive income, and you can work with the project, like some of the projects that I'm working with. You get to know who's running the project. And there's a lot of things that you can do within the community as well. So there's a lot of advantages of staking. It supports the project. They have more liquidity, but you know where your money is at any time, and you can withdraw it pretty much at any time. And then, like I say, you can also spend your crypto as well. We're using a card. I've got 2 or 3 cards that you can use. This one is called Wirex. I have another one called Global Unit Pay, which is another one. And there are others springing up I'm hearing about all the time. Now they're getting it where you can actually, you don't even have to convert it back to fiat to spend. You can have it in your crypto and it automatically calculates the fiat component, takes it out. So this is the beginnings of a new world that is coming.
So you're using the Wirex card like a credit card, right?
It's like a pre-funded EFTPOS card.
What transaction costs are
They are very, very minimal. Very minimal. A lot more minimal than with a bank. So then, if you want, then you can, you can bring it back out into fiat, but you can also just spend it basically like it as fiat. So when you're, as an investment, I've been in this for 7 odd years. In that time, I've had a fairly good play around, and I have had the benefit of a lot of, a run up, and I've made a lot of mistakes. But the investment started to build up for me now, and I am now operating, and in many ways I'm already operating in my own parallel reality, parallel society, because there's a lot of other people that gladly accept my crypto. We are starting to build, we're connecting all around the world with an incredible amount of amazing people. So, that in itself is an investment, because I am getting off the grid, I'm getting out of this government system. It's not serving us, and the more of us that come in there, the stronger we get, and it is evolving. And Jill mentioned about Metcalfe's law. Crypto's growing 113% year on year for the last 10 years. That is double what the internet grew in the 90s. So that gives you an idea of how fast this train is coming. So, sorry, I digressed a little. So back in the investment, I'm not a trader, but people can trade. I like to buy, hold, and sometimes if it goes up quite high, you can cash it out, and then you'll watch, it's cyclic, right? So it'll drop back down, and then I can put my money in somewhere where it's safe, and then when I can buy in again at the bottom if I want. But, I'm not really cut out for that. I'm doing a lot of other things. But you can do that. I'm mainly a holder, hold on for dear life, hodl, as we call it. You can buy a bot, you can stake it like we mentioned, or you can do what's called yield farming, which is like staking, but you earn in a different token. So it might be more of a preferred token for you. It might be like a blue chip. But usually when you stake, you earn the same currency that you've staked. And then there's hedge funds, and there's hedge funds, not like hedge funds on Wall Street. We're making our own hedge funds. We're working with people we're pooling our resources, and then they are doing all the diversification investing, and we can do it with people that you know and love and trust. So that's another awesome aspect and then also when you're buying these tokens and these projects, if it's a private project, not just on the public exchange, but a private project, you are like the venture capitalists of the new world. We are like getting in on the ground floor. We're basically buying digital assets. We are basically bootstrapping these projects. And when you get to understand what problems, major humanitarian problems we've got in the world, some of these are trying to tackle these big problems. And in these projects, we often call them tokens as opposed to crypto. It's a bit confusing. Cryptocurrency is really there's only a few currencies that are global payment currencies. Tokens are normally referenced to or referring to these private projects or decentralized projects where you're basically staking your money with them, or you're supporting their project as a digital shareholder rather than strictly as a currency. But it acts like a currency, and it moves just like any other currency in the digital world, but you also have a share, an asset, a digital asset. And eventually Wall Street is going to be completely digitized, by the way. Everything is going to be tokenized. That's the way I see it. Believe it or not, but it is coming. It's just been held back from the people for, obviously from their, usual tricks. But the information's leaking out for many years. It's starting to flood out now. So what we look at is all the different use cases of tokens. Tokens that have a utility are going to be the ones that are going to fly. People, when they get used and they're solving these problems, people get paid for solving big problems. If you're solving a real critical health problem, people will give almost any kind of money to have their health solved. Well, it's the same in the financial world. It's obviously very broken, right? So this is where crypto can really come in and it can solve some massive problems. One of them, one token that is called XRP. I believe that is going to be a new global currency, a true currency around the world, a bridge currency, a cross-border global currency. Stellar is another one. It's an open network for storing and moving money, but I think that Stellar is also going to be the new stock market. It is showing signs of being a new, where you can literally buy assets. You can buy, it will be a new world stock market, a new world asset, an asset platform for. So again, these are multi-dimensional projects. These ones, they are rejigging the whole financial system. And I believe XRP and XLM, or Stellar as it's known, these are at the tip of the spear. They are really, and the partnerships they have between the two of them is really quite incredible. Then now there's another token called Theta. Theta is basically competitor to YouTube. This is going to tokenize and digitize the online streaming, video storing, and the whole video world. So you can imagine if you're owning that token, you've got a share in that business, basically. And it's so easy to buy, and it's so easy to share and to exchange with people. So that's where the currency part comes in. But what you're really sharing is a piece of ownership of the Theta project, which is absolutely massive. Parachain Messaging, this is another type. Parachains were created by a project called Polkadot. Polkadot is shaking up the world in decentralized finance as well. They have their decentralized exchange, where you don't have to go through a centralized body and show your ID in order to be able to trade in crypto. You can do it all automatically with, and some of them you don't even need ID. You can be completely anonymous. So that has pluses and minuses, but this parachain messaging is a major, it's a major technological invention. There's a lot of smart people working on these stuff. And then these are, so I might need my glasses to look at some of these. Oh, maybe I've got a look there. Yeah, see, so with Polkadot, they're offering true interoperability. Interoperability means interoperable between all different blockchains. Blockchains can be a bit like islands in themselves, and they have their own little ecosystem. But what's happening now is all blockchains are all linking up and they're becoming interoperable. So this is what's starting to form a new kind of financial matrix. It's economic and transaction scalability. Scale is very important, and this is one of the things that crypto really offers in blockchain is major scale, moving lots of money very, very quickly, very, very cheaply, with minimal human contact. It's getting more easier now. It has been quite complex, particularly for my non-techie brain. But I know if I can do it, anyone can do it. But it is getting simplified. The user interface is getting more and more simple. The technology behind it is very complex, but you don't need to know that. We don't even know how a TV works when we turn it on. We just turn it on. Well, this is where crypto and blockchain is going. It's going to become super easy, super transparent as well, and very, just user-friendly. Governance, user-driven governance. How important is that, right? With our current, again, centralized government. We've got centralized banks. We've got centralized this, centralized that. Everything is centralized. This is the disruptor of everything. And governance is such a huge portion of it. And when I was talking about staking and yield farming, well, when you're staking your tokens on a, then you get votes, you get shares, you can have a say in what the project is doing. You voted with your money, they invite you to share your ideas, your vote on major decisions. Security is really important. Imagine decentralized ID and data storage for a minute. We're always concerned about our data. Our data is getting raped. Our ID, our intellectual property, anything we put on free social media is not free. It's highly expensive and in many other ways that we are unaware of. Our information's been scraped. Yeah, it's in some database somewhere. But we now have the ability where we can ID ourselves as a human, because we need to, because unfortunately there's so many bots out there, so many non-humans posing as a human. But we can verify ourselves as a human, and that ID goes into a decentralized vault where under encryption it cannot be hacked, it cannot be touched or taken. So we're protecting our data. Is the new oil. The petrodollar is crashing. That now it's all about data, and it's super highly efficient. This is one of the aspects of AI in this form. Is it's very benign. It's not having any contact with us, except that it's automating things. Blockchain is like autonomous way to operate and work, so we can get on and free up our time to do what we really need to do, what we're here for. Uniswap, I mentioned about decentralized exchange. Uniswap's one of the earlier ones and one of the biggest ones. It's already done over $1 trillion in transactions. So when people think that crypto is a scam or it's going away or it's a fad, no, this is just one exchange. This is just one project. It's done $1 trillion of transactions. It's one of many hundreds, thousands of projects that are doing these kind of volumes now. So you can sort of see what I mean. In Decentraland is a gaming, and it's also related to the metaverse. They're young people. I'm not a big proponent of the metaverse, by the way. I think the metaverse is it could be another trap, but we're just explaining this is some of the uses for crypto and blockchain. Yes, there is an agenda that's very artificial and very counter-human productive. We know that, but we can use it. We just got to educate. That's why we're educating people, so that people don't fall into that trap. The same with the CBDC. Any technology is a polarity to it. We just got to make sure we're on the right side of that polarity. VeChain is a huge project for supply chain management. Look at the supply chain right now. It's broken and it's crashing majorly, right? So VeChain, this is where tracking and tracing might be a good idea. Instead of tracking and tracing us, the person, it's tracking your goods where they are, and it's making sure the whole supply chain will run super efficient. So I'm a holder of VeChain. I think VeChain has got a big future. Filecoin. Filecoin is often known as proof of space. So basically what it is that it's decentralized storage of your data. There's your data again. So this is where you're going to have decentralized storage of your ID, but you can have decentralized storage of your files, your video files, all your information, and it's complete because it's that immutability of the blockchain. Again, you know it's absolutely secure. It cannot be hacked unless a quantum computer can come along and hack it. That is a possibility, but they're already addressing that. They're already onto that. Eventually, I think blockchain will become sort of unified with a quantum type computer. So I basically did speak about XRP before, but basically I think this is a key token to watch, particularly if you just want to make some money. I think XRP could be the one to look at. It's one of the main ones out there in our portfolio. The Federal Reserve Board announces the Reserve Banks will adopt a new message format for the FedWire fund service and invites public comment on proposal to expedite adoption. So this is talking about a new messaging standard called ISO 20022, ISO 20022, which is a reference to this year, 2022. And what it is like SWIFT, our SWIFT bank transfer system is a messaging system. It's purely a messaging system, and then the banks, it takes you 5 days seems to send money from one side of the world to the other, whereas now with this messaging system connected to the blockchain, and then there's certain cryptos, including XRP, XLM, there's another one XDC, there's another one called Quant, and Algorand, another one called Algo for short. These are subscribed to this messaging system. They will be the first tokens to use this. It means that basically this is the cross-border payments thing that we're talking about, where you can send money around the world for a fraction of a cent in about 3 seconds, and without any middlemen. So that in alone, if there's nothing else, that is going to change the world. That's going to change the way we transact anyway, massively. So so now the banks are in the crosshairs of this whole thing as well. The funny thing is, the very people that we've come to love to hate, they're the ones who are also getting disrupted by this. This is why we need to understand what's going on, so then you can position yourself right instead of getting just hit by the bloody avalanche. So ISO 20022 is very important. It's who can cut the lunch of SWIFT. I mean, this is the cabal's prized, moving the money around the world. That takes something. XRP, XLM, and these ISO tokens, they're new kids on the block. Those who hold the tech have the power. The banks and the central banks even are clients of that. They are not the ones who are pushing this or who are creating it. They're the ones who have to jump into it, because as Gerald says, the system's collapsing. They've got to move their money somewhere too. They've got to move into a system that secures them. So we can just be ones that can somehow tag along and take advantage of the very same thing. A wealth transfer is what it is. A great reset. It could be great for us, and we can make it shit for them if we actually just understand what's going on. It's certainly a great awakening, and with that comes a real reset. So, as I've already sort of mentioned these, but these are the tokens, the early tokens that are adopting this messaging system. Ripple is a centralized company, but it's the owner of the XRP asset. XDC is another token. Stellar Lumens is like, it's also like, it is the organisation that owns XLM, the Stellar Lumens, they call it. IOTA, that's another term. I don't know too much about it. I know it stands for Internet of Things, basically. So yeah, not something that I am promoting. That's not my purview. I'm not into that. But Algorand, I do like Algorand. Algorand is an amazing token. It's bringing smart contracts like Ethereum to the financial world. It means all transactions are a contract. And you think lawyers, think accountants, think brokers. How many brokers out there that are making us broke? You know, these are all going to be heavily disrupted. Anyone that's in the middle of this is going to, and a lot of them have no idea. They have no idea what's coming. This is just showing you a chart, the chart of XRP on a website called coinmarketcap.com. And on this website, you will find every single token that's listed that's worth its, well, I was going to say worth its weight in salt. No, a lot of them are still dodgy as. Just because they're on the site doesn't mean they're verified. But there is 19,500 tokens there, and you can see all the information on this website. You can see charts showing its trading history since it started. You've got links to its the website, the team, all the statistics, all the numerical statistics that you need to see. So there is a huge amount of information. And as a newbie, if you want to research, I think this is a great place to go, coinmarketcap.com. And this is what we do, is when we're researching, we look behind the scenes. We look at who's running the project, what's their profile online, you know, how much money are they, how many coins are they issuing? That's an important one. Jill mentioned about supply. Sometimes they want to issue 1 trillion tokens. So we might not be so keen on something like that. But then there's others that, there's so many variables. This is why it is a bit of it is confusing, and there is a lot to it. And so we're just giving you just a bit of a heads up as to sort of the basics. Projects, when we say projects, private projects, like companies are setting up on blockchain and issuing their own currency, and they've got a mission. So I'm looking at probably a project every day these days. There's so many people are bombarding me with, look at this, look at that. But we are sifting through them, and there's some that we really like. One of them is called Everrich, or also known as UGPay. They're creating a decentralized, or a kind of a new person's economy, a people's economy, a global. With the current situation in America, it has been slowed up a bit, and they are hampered with a few issues, but it's got a lot of members, nearly 2 million people around the world. It's asset-backed, fully asset-backed. And this is why you've got to look at each project on a case-by-case basis. Do not throw a blanket opinion over all blockchain or all crypto, it's all a scam. You've got to look at each on its merits. And the beauty with crypto is that it can be easily linked to real-world assets, offline assets, land, businesses, gold and silver, or whatever it is. This is the projects that we are looking at. Those that have real backing, or not even just backing, something that has a real foundation, that if you stand on a foundation, it's got to be a solid floor. You're going to fall through. You want something that's underneath the project where it can't fall and just collapse in the first gale force wind or something. So we're looking at asset backed. We're looking at the amount of people that are involved in the project, you look at the team, you look at their history, you look at all there's so many things to look at. So, we're particularly interested in creating new economies, parallel economies for the people. I think decentralized finance in a general sense is starting to create that parallel reality, parallel economy. But we can go a few steps further and get right into the nitty-gritty of certain individual projects that are really delivering on what blockchain and decentralization is offering. Global Unit Pay, this is one of the companies that it's connected to Everrich. It's connected to Everrich. It's one of their many assets, many businesses. I've got their card. I can go and spend money. It's not a credit card. It's a prepaid. It's prepaid by your crypto that you're holding. So you've got crypto in my card. Then I can just go and buy a coffee. It's feeless. It's absolutely no fees. And I could buy anything from car, house, or whatever. If people were prepared to accept it, then we're good to go. Or peer-to-peer, or completely off the centralised system. They are not a bank. They are like a banking service that's based on the blockchain. That's why we love it. And they are crypto fiat gateway. And we're also now, DeFi Freedom is now a merchant. So we can accept money. People can pay us in money. It'll go directly to this bank, if you like. And, no one bypass the whole centralised system completely. And there's another project that's now called the People's Choice. And their token is called the Tpr Token, or the People's Reserve, as it was originally called. They're building a decentralized, peoples-based economy as well. I think it is an amazing project. What it is basically it's connecting buyers and consumers and us general public to the merchants, and the crypto sits in the middle. So it's kind of almost like a barter. We're getting merchants keen as mustard to sign up because doesn't cost them anything, and we give them some of their tokens, or we give them. They're getting provided with their token, and then you can even trade without the internet. Internet goes down. All you do is just open your phone and just point it at the QR code, and then you've done your purchase. So what it does is it allows us to trade. It allows us food, the supply chain's getting smashed. We would be able to still be able to purchase food. We'll still be able to purchase a lot of basic necessities. They're building tiny homes in Australia. I think they're going to do it here as well. It's big in Israel, has 200,000 people. They already had the community, a huge freedom movement there. They had everything, they just didn't have a currency. Now they've got the currency because they could just adopt the DIF and boom, they're all operating virtually instantly. So what I like about this too is that 50% of there is a certain centralization to it. There is a board of people that are making the decisions, but I've come to know some of these very well. I totally trust these people, and 50% of everything they make goes back into the economy. They are using that money to then buy land to grow things. They're building the tiny homes. They're buying forests in Australia to mill the timber. They're setting up a whole supply chain right through. And there are people there offering land. They're offering their certain products that they need, and they're quite willing to accept 100% of the TPR in return. So that's pretty awesome. So, is it safe? Well, yeah, this is where we've got to analyse everything. As I said, we've got to analyse everything on a case-by-case basis. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge crypto by CBDC. Don't judge it by even Bitcoin either. Bitcoin was the first, and it heralded this massive revolution. But Bitcoin has some problems, maybe, mainly because of the centralized controllers. They can't control the code. They can't control it when it's in your wallet, but they can mess with it on the fringes, and they are. They can buy it up too. They buy it up in big lots, and then they can crash it down. So that's mainly how they are affecting it. And yeah, there is the miners. There's a mining issue, but you know, basically when it comes to scams, that's what we really want to watch out for. And there are a lot of them. So again, don't judge crypto just because you heard someone got scammed or you got scammed. It's a matter of getting your education up. Your knowledge is absolutely paramount when it comes to this space, because there's so many aspects to it, and there's so much FUD being directed towards us by the same players. That why are they putting so much fear and doubt into us about this whole blockchain thing? You've got to ask yourself, why is that? There are a lot of people that are getting free and getting sovereign out in this blockchain place, along with the legal issue. You know, and we have the problem with a birth certificate, and we're basically in their jurisdiction and all that. Well, with blockchain, we can completely use that as a tool to get free in that level as well. And then I do believe that food security, our own our mindset and our spiritual aspect, we need to use all the tools that we have at our disposal. So the essence is, do your own due diligence. We're just waving a flag, you know, and maybe you know, those who see it may be attracted, but we're not in it to make money out of this. This is more to spread the word, educate, and build a community. That's what we're about. And then as the community builds, and as we start to get more wealthy, I think ultimately there will be no money in the long run. But what we have to do now is we have to protect what wealth we've got. We have to protect it for the generations, because if we lose it all, and they do bring in the digital ID, which, you know, linked to the central system, and all of that, then we've basically got another couple of thousand years to try and get that back. So now we have to protect what we've got, because the wolves are at the door right now, and we just have to make sure that they don't get in. And so protection on that level, because money is at the centre of everything, right? It governs everything. Follow the money, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we don't hand over our power. Money is just a medium of exchange of energy, and that's what we've got to restore. With fiat, the energy is gone. That's why it's dying. Passwords, sorry, I do digress sometimes, but you know, certain things I really wanted to say. With passwords, you protect them with your life. Basically, you put them maybe in 2 places. Don't store them on the computer. You just keep it really secure. Just take responsibility for your security. Take responsibility for everything. You've got to be real responsible when you're managing your own money. You know, we've been so used to banks and everybody else doing it for us. Those days are gone. Yeah, it's volatile because it's a nascent class. It's very small in the bigger scheme of things. The volatility is partly because the centralised players, the usual bad actors, they are the ones that are messing with it. It's not because of the blockchain. It's not because of the tech. It's not because of the code or anything. It's because of the nefarious influences just messing with it by plunging your money in and then pulling it out, and that we're just like nervous little rabbits jumping every time it goes up or down. As it gets populated, the volatility is going to even out. So choose well and think long term and think big picture. Join the dots. Join the dots between the money, the political, the science, the education, the energy, what's happening in Russia, and Ukraine. This is all part of it. This is all part of the giant reset. A war always precedes a major reset. They need that war for cover, and so that they can have an excuse about where all the money's gone, where's all the pensions gone, and all of that. They need this for their cover. So we can be like little raiders in the night that can basically, have maybe get a little bit of one back. There are risky projects out of there, but we've got to do our best to avoid those. Just diversify your portfolio. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. And basically now is the best time to get involved. If not now, when? If you know that it's coming, would that change your thinking on crypto? So don't see it as just a flash in the pan. This is part of the reset, and we can take advantage of it, and we can position ourselves so that we can actually grow ourselves as a being without having all this hassle with trying to scratch some money together to make a living. We should be making a life, and so that's what we're here to do. And it's about freedom. For me, it's about freedom and truth. Freedom, truth, and consciousness. And that is what DeFi Freedom offers. We offer, we're trying to give you conscious awareness around this on all the aspects. So thank you. That's my.
Thank you, Tony. We have time for one query for Tony after this presentation. Is anybody that has one query that you'd like to ask? And we can have time later on as well at the end. But anybody have a burning need for more information?
Well, I've done so well.
And your presentation is brilliant. Both Gerald and Tony have been working and solidifying the presentation from what they did really 2 weeks ago. And congratulations, guys. Job's well done. Seriously, it's nice and beautiful. So thank you for the wealth of information. So